began to put thoughts into the mind. Before I went to sleep, I humbly asked in prayer just exactly what do you want me to say to the people tomorrow. Always do that, for what we give to you comes not from us. It comes from the collective work and energy of those who taught us, our ancestors, and most of all from the creative force. And this is what the Lord gave me. I'm going to share with you. He said, I want you to say to them, when you meet with them tomorrow night, that black people need to stop worshiping the white man and start serving God. I want you to repeat that after me, please. I said, Lord, that's kind of heavy. But I will obey what I'm told to do. I want you to repeat that with me. Black people need to stop worshiping the white man. Start serving God. I'm going now into the Bible because I use it as a textbook for black liberation. It was my book before they took it. Now I'm trying to take it back. I'm going to, some of you brought your Bible with you. Feel free to open it with me if you want to. I told you I'm going to take your time now. Matthew the 6th chapter, the 24th verse. And we read, no man can serve two masters. Can serve two what? For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and man. Now let us do a little exegesis, as they say in the seminary, on this text. Let's do a black nationalist commentary. Everybody else has a commentary. Harper has a commentary. Baptists have one. I'm not coming down on nobody. Methodists have one. Catholics have one. Everybody's got a commentary. This is a black nationalist commentary. If they can do it, we can do it. After all, it is our book. It says here that no man can serve two masters, and that's true. You see, what this text is demonstrating is an illness that we suffer, all of us suffer from. And in order for us to be made whole and to be healed of mind, body, and spirit, we have to stand up and admit that we suffer from this illness. The same way as they do in Alcoholics Anonymous. The first thing you have to stand up and do and say, I'm an alcoholic. You have to accept that fact. First of all, we have to accept the fact that we are sick. The enemy made us sick. Now, accepting that fact is the first step towards healing. We shouldn't stay sick. We should be about the business of getting well. But the Lord is not going to turn the world over to no more sick people. He had sick people running for about 6,000 years. You can't have. He wants a whole people to rule. And that he's calling the original black man, black woman back. Well, when you are trying to serve two masters, there's a dichotomy going on within your spirit. And that dichotomy causes you to be schizoid, schizophrenic. Therefore, you act in an irrational manner. When you act, you're, as Dr. Ben says, we're all schizoid. You have to act this way around a white man on his job, then act this way when you're home around your brothers and sisters. Now, I'm not saying that we should go out tomorrow like we did in the 60s and 70s, although most everything we did was necessary to get to this stage. And tell white folks about everything you're doing and shake your fist in his face and say, we're going to get you, white. You know, don't do that. Don't do that. Wait a minute. Don't do that no more. You go out there and you work and you do and you carry on just about the same. Make sure you keep your dignity and respect. But this time you're not schizoid about it. This time you're not insecure around them, wondering how you should act. And when one of them speaks to you, you become so overjoyed you almost stumble over yourself. But you will see them as they are. Yet you are wise enough to go on and conduct your business in a humane way, in a cordial manner, understanding that one day the decision might come between you and them, or your child and their child. And you must have the wisdom to make the right decision, which is naturally you're going to go for your child and for self. Now we know that that potential is always there, but you don't have to carry that burden with you every day. Now we know when you come back into your say, hey, man, what's that? Hey, man, it's so good to see you. Sisters see each other, child, they really got butter from the duck on that job today. I'm so glad to be home. So it keeps us into that schizoid way. We know within us and sense that there's something special about us as a race. We know we're not supposed to be in this position or condition in the world. We sense that we are supposed to be the powers in the world. Yet we have accepted someone else's rulership and have given in to it. There is within us a conflict as to why we go and prepare to get a degree to get a job rather than to get a degree to go in business and do something for self. That question is in your mind, so it causes schizophrenia. It's there. But when you come to the knowledge of self and begin to apply that knowledge in your daily life, you can go on as if nothing has changed to the rest of the world, but you and your brothers and sisters know what you're about and what you're in the midst of doing. But now when it speaks of serving these two masters, you should have only one master. That's right. That's the Creator. I've never had a boss in my life. The only boss I've ever had outside of the Shakamusa Barashango has been the Almighty One, the Creator force. That's the only boss I recognize. Whenever I've had to be in a position of employment with the enemy, and I thank the Creator, that's been very seldom, but that has been, I presented it to him this way. White folks don't like this either. I'm a businessman. I'm in business for myself. I'm marketing my skills to you. We're making a contractual agreement here. For X amount of dollars, I'm going to do this for you. That's what that is. I'm not working for you. You are not my boss. And it bothers me to hear black folks talking about white folks being their boss. I got to get the boss man watching you. Remember, I was on one job as a printer one time. Brother came over. Said, you know, man, you better be careful, the man watching you. I said, which man are you talking about? I'm a man, you a man, what are you talking about, the man watching you? If you're talking about the dude that owns this place, if he don't have nothing else to do but stand at that door and watch me, he has no business being in the business. I'm going to make the profit stand at the door watching me. I'm doing my job. This is the point I'm trying to draw to. So the only master you should have is the Creator. Now, when you have another master, true, you're not on the plantation, so to speak, as overtly as it used to be. We know we're still on one. Yet, though that chattel slavery is gone, the mental and spiritual and economic enslavement is still there. So every day we go to work. I'm not telling you to quit your job, I'm not saying be no fool. If you're going to go into business, prepare yourself ready. But every time we go to work, we're serving another master. But that's something you got to feed your family, you have to live. But you should be prepared to get from under that master as soon as you can.
That's right.
Now, this is nothing new. The Honorable Marcus Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and many others have presented this. But what we're really speaking about in serving the masters is who you give your mind, your body and soul, your spirit, your emotion over to. You know, your very being over to. And when you give your very being over to white folks, and we do that because they control our minds. And one of the ways they control our minds is through the imagery, which comes to us first through the basic step in our education, which was usually the church school. Now, brothers and sisters, don't get upset. I'm not coming down on the church. I love the church. I know what the church has done. I know in many instances it has been used against us, but yet we can transform the church and bring it back into the original glory that God intended for it to be. But it says here in the serving of these two masters, it says it's impossible to love the two. You may be serving the two, but you're going to love one and you're going to hate the other. Now, I'm not teaching hatred. This is in the Bible. It says that's nature. Human nature. You're going to love one force and hate the other force. Well, I want to love the Creator. I want to love God. I want to love myself. I want to love my brothers and sisters. So that is what I'm going to serve in spirit, mind, and body. I might have to give him some lip service. I might have to give him up a little work in exchange for the right amount of dollars. See, that's the contractual agreement there. But the master that I'm going to serve is myself and my Creator. That is what we're speaking of here. Now, when it goes on to say you cannot serve God and mammon, it's talking about the rulers of this present world. water off, as Brother Bobby Wright, that fallen warrior, has passed on once. Said, you don't even know where to shut the water off at. Or cut it off after they shut it off. You be in your house doing basketball, you walk over to this side and cut it off, you out. You out the cold. You understand what I'm saying? So they control the material world. But because they control it, does not mean that you have to subject yourself to it. Even in the Christian doctrine, it says the devil are the rulers of this world, but you do not submit to this world. You submit to the will of God, the will of the Creator, and we will discuss that as we move on here. Let me move to the next text. Take a lot of Bible texts on. Hope I can share them with you. For those who are having this schizophrenic trauma going on within their spirit as to which way to turn, scared to be black, afraid to be an apple, afraid to serve your own. Well, is not hatred in me, brothers? Come on with it. Have mercy. I'm going to go to another Bible text for you. In the book of Joshua, the 24th chapter and the 15th verse. And I'm going to read that. I'm going to be opening for questions and answers as soon as I can. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, it's a strange text, isn't it? But we'll go into it. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. Do what? This day. Don't be afraid to talk back. Whom ye shall serve. Whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorite in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Now, the brothers dressed in white, the Ansaru brothers explain in their literature all the time who the Amorite is. See, the wisdom and the knowledge is everywhere. You can get it from here, you can get it from there. We know who this Amorite is, representing the Caucasus, the Caucasian. So now, which one are you going to serve? Make a choice, because you can't stand in the middle of the road. And why was Joshua putting this kind of challenge to the black nation Israel? That was a black nation then, and if you want to question me on that when we finish, I'll be glad to deal with that. They were now getting ready to go into the promised land. They were not going to heaven. They were going into the land to establish a nation. That's right. The whole Bible is a book about securing some land. When the Republic of New Africa says free the land, they're trying to follow the Bible. Because the Bible talks about freeing the land. When Abraham got up, he was going looking for some what? Some land. When the children of Israel left Egypt and was going into Palestine, they were looking for some what? Always they were looking for some land. So that's what we're looking for, some land. But you can't serve God correctly unless you're on your own land. No matter how hard you try, you're under the influence of the demonic forces around. And you cannot set the right systems of law and morality unless you're on your own land. We must have some land that we can call our land. Joshua said, before you can go into this land, you're going to have to make a choice. Choose ye this day whom you will serve. And so I say to you, black man and black woman, make a choice. Are you going to serve the people or are you going to serve them? Are you going to serve God or are you going to serve the devil? Choose ye this day. Black people need to stop worshiping the white man. That's right. And start serving God. Now, if we truly believe in the Creator, if we truly believe, like we say we believe and have faith, then we would be the rulers of the world. Yes, sir. Because that is what we were in the beginning, if you understand history. And that's what we're being called to. We'll talk about that some more as we go on. Obviously, we're not serving God in the way that we should be. We don't believe as strongly as we should believe because we let somebody else determine our destiny instead of our Creator and ourselves. Just think about that. Just think about that. You may not like what's being said, but it has to be said. You would have never gotten this condition in the first place if you had listened to the elders on the continent of Africa. That's right. And you weren't running around like a heathen eating up each other. That was going on up in Europe. And that's true. That is started. That's right. You were building mighty golden kingdoms of Songhai, Mali, Ghana, and many others that time would fail me to tell you about tonight. All those high civilizations you were building. ago when they didn't have none of the crude huts up there. You had great castles and mosques when they didn't have nothing but dirt hovels with dirt floors for castles. They're sleeping with their dogs and their horses. I'm not saying this to be mean. White writers have written this. You don't want to take my word for it. White historians have written it. I'm just merely returning it to you. So if we're going to be about the business of serving God, then we're going to be about the business of setting things right. Now we know it can't be done overnight, but we can do it step by step. We have to continue to build this great last pyramid, this mighty pyramid. I like the way the Arabs said, all the world fears time, but time fears the pyramid. You built a structure so bad that they really can't even date it. They guess at it. It's still standing there. That's what you did. Not only that, all over the world they see things that you have built. That's right. You always build on a massive basis. You didn't build on a small. Always built these big gigantic things. Up in England, Stonehenge, you built that. Big tall black men went up there and built that. About 3,000 years before Christ. Let me go on back into the text. One of the reasons why we're not where we're supposed to be is because fear is in our heart. When they took us on the islands of the seasoning and broke us down and broke a lot of our spirit, they put fear in our heart. They would take pregnant women and bring them out and let them watch another pregnant woman as they split her stomach and the baby fell out and they crushed his head to the ground. That put fear in the heart of the child before the child was born. But thank God, there's a God in heaven that rules in the affairs of men. And in Joshua, the 1st chapter, in the 9th verse, it says, have not I commanded thee, be strong and of a good courage, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee whithersoever thou goest. Every place that the sole of thy foot shall tread upon shall I give unto you, as I said unto Moses. It's my land, free land. Let's move on, brothers and sisters. Are you all right? You have no reason to fear, because the scripture says no weapon. See, once you get into that place with the Creator, once you get into that divine energy, or if you just come to the light of self that all the brothers and sisters have been trying to share with, once you get into that, the study of our history is a beginning. That's not the end, but that's an important start. And once you start moving into that heavy science that the black man and black woman are supposed to be into, once you get into that light, once you know the path and the course of the mothership and all the other happenings in the cosmos, once you get hooked up in that 360-degree knowledge that you once had in the world, then you will be set in a place that, as the scripture says, no weapon that is formed against you can prosper. That's right. What do I care about white folks' laser beams and bombs? There's a God in heaven that moves in the affairs. And I want to walk with him. That's my Father. That's my power source. When I get into that source, nothing you can do to me. That's right. Like Jesus said, you can kill the body but not the soul. All you did was set me free. I don't have to worry about food, clothing, and shelter no more. I say the black people need to stop worshiping the white man and start serving God. I like that other text in the Bible. My mother, peace be upon her, used to say so often, the Lord is on my side. Yes. I will not fear. What can man do unto me? And there's a divine, like, see, when you understand the science of the auras, I'm not going to go into that. White folks are putting billions of dollars into studying mental telepathy and mental science and attacking psychic attacks, psychic phenomena and auras. They've been able to film auras with certain cameras. They find the hands on the tomb of great kings of Africa out of Egypt, and the aura is still around the hand. Understand? We're going to go into the mystery of that tonight. I'll be back here in the month of February. We'll be able to share some more. We're going to do what we can tonight. If we truly believed in God, we would be the leaders of the planet Earth. Now, I know some people feel that that is a racist term. But then why do you feel that way? White folks been ruling for about 6,000 years now. You ain't said nothing about that. The moment we come down and tell you there's time for black men to come back from the ruling power. Right now, even white tell you that the black man wants to rule the whole world, all over, everywhere. You see them, the black folks, everywhere. I have the documentation for that in this book, God, the Bible, the Black Man's Destiny. Everything I say in there, documented, give you bibliography for it. Well, now, if you could accept him being in power, destroying and messing up the earth, you can't breathe air, right? Water polluted, food you eat, killing it. Atomic bomb hangs, a hydrogen bomb, neutron bomb hangs a threat like the sword of Democrates over your head. You can accept that, yet when we come before you and say, well, now it's time for the righteous to rule. Things have gotten out of hand. You say, oh my God, racist, hateful man. That's because we have the disease of self-hatred. That's it. If we truly believe in God, we would carry out his plan. That's why I love that piece, the Creator. That's a master plan. Oh yeah, it just, yeah, you don't, I hope we all get it too, but you don't have to. You can carry it out anyway. There's only two left. When it all goes down, black folks will be here to replant the garden and start all over again. But if I'm not here, I do want my children and grandchildren to be here. I want some of us to be here that have paid the price. Let us go on there. Let's examine the plan of the Creator. Some of it. Of course, it's too vast for us to comprehend in its entirety. Why, even as it was revealed through the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and every one of you should know about this man. How many of you in here know who George Washington was? Raise your hand. How many of you know who Thomas Jefferson was? John Hancock. Now, how many of you know who Marcus Garvey is? Oh, that's good. Your children should know about that man. That great black man who said, he sat on the shores of Jamaica one day, and the Spirit of God came to him and said, where is the black man's government? Where is the black man's leaders? Where is his men of great affairs? Where are they, Marcus? He said, Lord, I don't know. Say, get up, Marcus, and help him find it. Help him get it. Came over to these shores and in the present days raised over $10 million and had anywhere from 6 to 11 million black people hooked up in the Universal Negro Improvement Association of that day. And you can tell me that our children don't know about a great black man like that? Washington never did anything like that. Most of his battles he lost. And if it hadn't been for the black troops, America would have lost the war altogether. I'll deal with that in book 2, African People and Europeans, Holidays of Mental Genocide. I'll bring that book when I come down in February. Let's look and examine God's plan a minute now. You still with me? Yeah. Oh yeah. You all right? Yeah. All right. Fear not. There it is again. See, Lord don't want you fear. In the book of Revelation, it says those who fear and dogs and all the bad people will be left out. That's right. All together. Supposed to have no fear, God. You don't fear somebody if you believe in God. That's right. Then you don't really believe. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. I will say to the north, give up, and to the south, keep not back. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. Everyone that is called by my name, for I have created him for my glory, have formed him, yea, I have made him. That is the plan, part of the plan. We are to be gathered from all over the world. Wherever the black man is, wherever the soles of your foot have tread, wherever you have worked and labored and died, we are to build national structures. And we're to reach out from those national structures and build one great Pan-African collective the world over. One great people, a renewed and resurrected people. That's the black nationalist interpretation. Now, you don't have to accept it. You don't want it. But I can deal with that better than I can waiting to get into heaven while white boys enjoy everything together. While you talk all that talk, and somebody starts messing with into the book of Exodus, the 4th chapter, and the 22nd verse. And it gives us another key to the plan that God has for this people today. Now, obviously, it was today because it wasn't completely fulfilled back then. Exodus, the 4th chapter, the 22nd verse. And it says, and the 23rd verse, and thou shalt say unto Pharaoh. Now, we'll deal with this another time. This was an argument between two black men, between the king of Egypt and a new leader of the people, Moses. There were two black men. There's a lot of question as to whether the children of Israel were thrown out or whether they left on their own. But we're not going to go into that now. We're going to apply the principles in this text to our purposes tonight. Is that all right with you? Yes. Right. All right. Now, whatever the different philosophies is fine. I like to listen to them all and draw what I can from each one of them. Dr. Ben always straightens that out real good for you. That's one of my mentors. We don't agree on everything. We get to religion, we'd be dead up into it. It's still my teaching. Yeah. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, and I would paraphrase that, thou shalt say unto Reagan. Thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto thee, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if thou refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay thy son, even thy firstborn. Now you have to understand that this Israel is not the settler colony of Zionist Israel that's over there today, or the original black Israelites. Because when the brothers and sisters left here who relate to the Hebrew doctrine and said we have returned home and showed them all the historical data, they said that's true. You may have been the original one, but we empower now. So they know who they are. They're European. They're not Jew Israelites or Hebrews. Yet there's an affinity we have with that. We had it all the way through slavery time. We're always related to the plight of the children of Israel compared to that of our own. But the point I want to make clear here to you is that this nation, this black nation Israel, is being referred to as the Son of God. And this now begins to clarify the mystery and the theological talking of what it means when it says Jesus is the Son of God. Yeah. It's referring here to the nation. And when it was applied to Jesus, it was as the head of that nation, the rightful head of that nation. And he was crucified not as the Savior of the world, but over the cross they wrote in Latin, Jesus, the King of the Jews. Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. It was a political assassination. You must understand that. A political assassination. I'm not attacking anyone's faith. Understand me, please. But we can't just go on with what they taught us from the plantation until now. If you can draw strength from it, fine. Our people used what they had to draw strength from. I could never put down my mother. She used to walk through the house. Jesus, Lord, you've been my mother, you've been my father. You have helped me all the way through, and I saw the strength of that woman and how we lived through that poverty and were lifted up out of it. Yeah. So I couldn't put her down because I don't think exactly the same way she does on that. When she prayed to Jesus, I pray too. We're in harmony there. It's just a matter of approach. So I'm making clear to you that I'm not attacking you in any way. When we go over in another part of the text and say, let my people go, the point or the principle I'm seeking to stress here is that we must, according to the book of Revelation, Babylon is fallen. Come out from among her, my people, and be not partakers. This is Babylon. There was ever a place of confusion. This is it. And they go around confusing the rest of the world. People seem to know what they want to do till they get there. So the CIA and the FBI and everybody else. Then there's a state of confusion. We ought to come out from that confusion. We may not be able to make a complete physical exodus right now, but we got to make a spiritual exodus. We have to make a mental exodus. As we go about the business, you're going to eventually have to make a physical exodus, because when the Creator rains down his terror on these people for what they have done to us and the rest of the world, you don't want to be anywhere around them. And he's coming after them. In the book of Revelation, it says, in that day, Satan shall be loosed from his pit. And that day is written in the book of Malachi. So the Son of Righteousness arrived with healing in his wings. Lord, that's glorious. If I can get over no other point here tonight, I want you to understand that you have within you, each and every one of you, the key to the secret of the salvation of planet Earth. You are the ones that are being called to leadership. I know it's hard to accept it. I know he made you think so little of yourself that you are nothing.
Yes, he did.
Yet you are it. Every time he wants something new, he has to come to you. Always he has to come to you. Why, he would not have been able to build America without you. He didn't fight his wars without you. Why, he can't even dance. He still can't follow. I'm concerned. Without you. Got you caught up in that disco. I'm not going to get into that. We're supposed to be about the business of building a better people in a better world, not submitting to and giving into the existing one. Be not partakers of this world. Create a new one. If you believe in the Creator, you can do that. But don't go around giving me lip service. You can pray 50 times a day, turn to the east, west, south, and down the way. You can read all the scripture you want. The Bible, the Holy Quran, the last one of them you want to read. But if you're not about the business of black liberation, which is the most sacred thing in the world, the liberation of black people, you're not about nothing. Brother Malcolm taught you that, and there's been very few men more logical than Brother Malcolm. Said if your religion is not leading you to do something for yourself, then you need to put it down. You know, I don't business with nothing that's not doing anything for you. If the person you're living with, if y'all not doing anything, upgrade each other, maybe y'all need to, well, you should try to patch it up if you can. I'm not advocating to break up a family. As we talk about the Creator's master plan, and as we continue to talk about black people need to stop worshiping the white man and start serving God or the Creator for them, I find many of us tend to blame our condition and our lethargy and our unwillingness to get up and move on our religion and on God. Jesus will take care of it. Vengeance is mine. All we got to do is call on the Lord and he'll make everything all right. Now, when you got to pay your rent or your house note, do you stop at that? No, you going down there and ask the white boy if he got a job for you. So you can do it. Or you find some way to get them done, don't you? Or you go get you some foreign aid. They call it welfare, I call it foreign aid. Whatever means you use it to take care of your bills, you don't stop at this prayer. Now, why are you going to leave the whole destiny of yourself, your children, your grandchildren, to just saying some prayers? If God requires of you not only to pray, but to get up and do something to support you, to eat, drink, and have shelter and clothes, why does he not also require of you to get up and do something to establish yourself in the world? You stop blaming God for these things, the Creator. Stop blaming him for the fact that you are continuing to carry out the white man's will. Don't put that on the Lord. The Lord don't work like that. Well, you know, God raised this country up. He raised up America. This is God's land. Now, the Creator that I serve, that I have read about, is a good Creator. And he does good for people. I could not see him condoning the genocide of a whole people. And if you say God raised up the white man and put him in power over you, and that God and America is God's land, God's country, then you say God would commit genocide against a whole race of people. Not only that, you say that he condones our enslavement. That it was his will that we be brought over here and made to drink the white man's water after he took a bath in it. Our babies made to eat our pig troughs with the animals. Our women made to do all kinds of freakish acts with him at night. And our little boys turned into homosexuals because of his demonic desire. If you say that this is God's country, then look what you're putting on the Creator. You better watch what you say. you might be blaspheming. One of the reasons why it's so difficult for us to get out of this, to stop worshiping the white man and to start serving God, is because we're emotionally attached to white folks. When we come to talk to you about something practical, let's say, well, let's do for self, let's build this, which is a coined phrase by the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, do for self, do kind. When these men came before you and said, let's do for self, you got into all kinds of abstract, emotional responses. Like Malcolm said one time, you accused him of coming to teach you hatred. He said, now, if after all the white man has done to you, you don't hate him, certainly nothing we can say to you can make it. While the white man talks of power, while for 24 hours a day, there is the think tanks and the brain machines with the map of the world concentrating on how they will continue to control the world, who will be exterminated, who will remain. While that is going on, and he's talking about power and control, you're talking about let's all learn to live to love one another and be together as brothers. Now the ideal is good, but it must be reconciled to reality. Ideals alone do not change situations. We must be concerned, as Reverend Jeramogi of the Shrine of Black Madonna said, about justice and power, not love. We got love, we don't have to worry about that. You don't have to apologize to nobody. Well, I don't want to be no racist anyway. Don't even worry about that. You don't have the power to do that. You can't make them hate themselves. You don't have the power to do that. And that's what a racist can do. You don't have the power to be a racist. So don't even burden yourself. White folks put that on. But they got their racist in the past. Get out of my face with that. All I want you to say to me, white man, is that you're willing to give over to me what belongs to me. Because you wouldn't have jaws on your behind if it wasn't for the fact that my ancestors worked so hard and built this nation for you, and I haven't got my 40 acres and my mule, which is up and worth around $200,000 now, and you ain't get that till you give me that much of it. I'm going to parlay into 50 million. I get my hands on that money. So don't talk to me about nothing else. I don't hear nothing. Don't bring me a power, don't bring me nothing. Leave me alone. Let me do for myself. And you just stay out of my way. Now, white folks have a problem with that. We'll talk about that later on. I'm going to be finishing up soon. And one of the reasons why we're so emotionally attached to white folks, and we are, we love them. Just like a woman being married to a man that cheats her every night. Obviously, her mind and spirit is so messed up. She said, but I love him. Like a little dog, you kick him every time you come out, but he come on back to the man. How you gonna love somebody that mistreats you all the time? That's not love, that's insanity. Because before you can love anybody else, you must first love yourself. Obviously, you don't love yourself, you're gonna let somebody beat up on you and you stay around. You let this white boy just do anything he wanted to. Then he marched. He said, please don't do it no more. Bring him, baby, stop. So you should get whatever you can out of them. If take a march or whatever it takes to demonstrate, get what you can from them. Don't go out there no fool. Let them knock you in your head and ride and turn on. Yet there are things that you can do to try to get some concessions out of them, but they're not going to give it up. But while you're doing that, have the wisdom enough to know that they're not doing this because they love you. They're doing it because they're down on the spot. One of my fellow clergymen, brother, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, put Budweiser on the spot. They're not giving up them hundreds and some millions to black businesses and stuff because they love them. No, they're on the spot. They will lose all the billions of dollars, that $40, $50 billion that black folks spend on alcohol every year. Cold order. So that you can apply pressure that way, but don't think it's going to last forever. That white boy going to find a way out of it. We're so emotionally attached to the white man because of the psychological damage which has been done to our minds through deceptive imagery. Down on the plantation, the white man came and he said, look, I have something for you. Pulled out this picture of this blonde, skinny hair, blue eyes, beard, holding a lamb with his hand like this here. spot. Right on the spot for lying. Now this is the imagery that was put before you. Adam, Eve, God, anybody that was somebody. So now here you grow up with the idea of I've got to take my problems to someone outside of myself. Anybody that's worth anything is a white man, not me. I'm not worth anything. So you grew up hating yourself. That's why you try to scar your face up, cover it up, do everything you can to measure your head. Do anything you can to yourself. When you see a black person, you ready to knock him down. Because when you look in the mirror, you're reminded, I got this on me. This is the fact that I'm black that's holding me back. Here you got the prettiest color in the world. Shitloads of suntan lotion being sold all over the world that look like you. Old Derek walking around trying to braiding her hair, and you think she invented that, trying to look like you when you stand up talking about this is the fact that I'm black and it's holding me back. No, brothers, I know you heard this before, but you need to hear it again, because obviously you didn't carry out what you're supposed to carry out. Now, when you bring it up more out of slavery time, because see, even though they did that, you had good preachers like the prophets, Nat Turner, the Right Reverend Gabriel Prosser, Right Reverend Denmark Vesey, and the Reverend Mother Harriet Tubman, and a lot of others. See, they preached the gospel of black liberation. Reverend Mother Sojourner Truth. That was the real gospel. When the church was set up, that's what it was set up for by the black man. You have to understand that. We can't go all into that tonight. Check chapter 23 in God's Bible and the black man's destiny. When we get to Sunday school now, in modern time, they give me a Sunday school card. When children come home from school, Sunday school, say, what kind of work today? Well, that's about Jesus as the Son of God, and he came to save the world. They show you this little picture, this little Sunday school picture, and what you have. Blonde hair, blue eye. Now, how is that child going to grow up with self-esteem? And you wonder why he has problems in the world. You wonder why there's gang wars amongst, why we beat up on each other so much. Self-hatred is where it comes from. And that's not the only base of the problem, but that's where it starts. Of course, the problem is more complicated than that, I realize it. And we have to deal with it in all fields of discipline. And I'm talking about from this area now. That's where it started at. In your family Bible, it's there. Here you have a church. And black folks, as the brother says in the book, Satan in the pulpit. That's right. Have over $10 million and $1 billion industry. That's right. Build these big churches and put a white man up on the stained glass building. You know what stained glass is? Don't even give themselves credit for building the church. When historically, we know that Jesus was a black man. It's irrefutable. It's in the book, and I probably will talk about that some more. But here we're going to put a lie up there instead. That's what it did to the mind. Movies. Greatest story ever told. 10 Commandments. Charlton Heston. You know what happened to him? He got to praying Moses, and he got into it so much when the director said cut, he couldn't get out the road. He got locked in. And they had to go get him out in the middle of Sunset Strip and West Part Boulevard, trying to tear apart the Red Sea on the back of a truck. They take him to a psychiatrist. He couldn't get out the road. And I guess so. You standing up there in the cedar parted before you, you don't realize you're in a fantasy. You get into right. The white man made you believe in his fantasy. As I saw that picture, I listened. And every text that they mentioned before they could finish it, black folks could finish it out for them. Yeah. And they were applying it to that white man. And we know that Moses was a black man, without a shadow of doubt. The Bible said, put your hand in your bosom. When he took it out, his hand was white. He said, oh my God, big on that. He was giving the Lord some argument at first. Said, I can't go down there. I can't speak well. I can't rap. Black folks like people to rap. I can't rap. But I can't go down there and give out. He said, put your hand in your bosom. Put it in there, took it out. Said, you see that? He said, yeah, you want to be like that all over the house? Now it was white when he took it out. When he put it back in, it came out was an original. What color was the man? I won't deal with that now. But that's circumstantial evidence. We have more factual evidence than that. Turn on the TV around Easter, the Festival of Fools Day. All these pictures that you see, all white images. Then they had that white boy, Max Van Sydow, play Jesus in one of them. That's an ugly. And he's playing. This was a tall, beautiful black man. Beautiful brother to look upon. Now, how do you know that? All right, you want to accept my word. Those of you who had money to travel, go to the British Museum. You get there, here's a coin. Ask them, say, I want the coin of Justinian II. Take and show you the coin. And on one side of the coin, you see a man with long, stringy blonde hair, obvious Caucasoid features. On the other side of the coin, you'll see a man with cornrows and broad-nosed, thick lips and woolly beard. And underneath that name, underneath of the first side of the coin with the European on it, it said Justinian II. Underneath the one on the other side, our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Now, white folks knew that. That was minted about 700 or 800 of the Christian era. They know that, and will keep that away from you. So don't take it from me. If you don't want to take a black man's word, white folks say the same thing. You're trying to write like that. You have to work it out. These images have destroyed our self-esteem and caused us to act in self-destructive manners. And as Brother Malcolm once said, the worst crime that you can commit is to teach a man to hate himself. And no one has ever done that job as effectively as Europeans have done that.
That's right.
They have taught you to hate yourself. When a man hates himself, he's his own destroyer. He'll work with you, for you, against himself in his own kind. And I say that these things are rooted and grounded in the early images we received and our miseducation in childhood. Now, I understand that the church was doing the best they could at that time, that our parents were doing the best they could at that time, but now we have moved on and received light. God blinked upon our ignorance, as the Bible said in those days, but now we have come to the light. And we're expected to grow up now and to deal with that knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, work with it. Just a few more points now, brothers and sisters. Now, if white people were really our friends like they say they are. Yeah, they do. They say, as long as they said, look, we want separation and we were fighting for integration, they were defining the process. When Brother Kwame Ture, the slave named Stokely Carmichael, and others stood down in Lowndes County, Mississippi, and made the fist and said, black power, we're going for ourselves. Then the white man comes back and says, wait a minute, hold it. You're being a racist in reverse. You don't want to separate from us. That's because he no longer defined it. He must always define your existence. That's why I've said to people, I will not allow a white man in when I'm celebrating Kwanzaa. That's mine. How do you want to identify with that? But if you let him in there, next thing you know, he's going to have it and gone. And you'll think he invented it. Let him take your music away from you, which he calls jazz. Most of you in here, your children don't even know who Charlie Yardbird Palmer was. Don't even know who John Coltrane was. Why, you don't want to sit still long enough to listen. You take all music sheet, make go get the dinner. The heebie-jeebies or something. You don't think you're supposed to sit down and listen to something sometimes. He stole that, and now he's calling it America's classical music. That's African music born out of the black thing. And when you were listening to that music, you were getting on a higher mental plane, too. Because at the time the train was blowing, that was like Gabriel blowing his horn. Malcolm was rapping, King was rapping, Elijah was rapping, and the word was going out throughout the land. When he saw that all hooked up together, he knew he had to move in on that end. So now he got to boogieing down. The song got 3 words in it again, baby. Same thing over again. And it's a hit. You're into that. When you hear your own, that makes me want to go to sleep. Don't know your own energy. Now here, when jazz musicians do come out, the club is full of white folks. Now they have to make a living. You didn't support them before, so they're trying to make a living. All these white folks, they want to play for you. Well, sees us begin to come into the knowledge of self, when they see us about to be serious about what we're doing, then they start moving. But now, if he was my friend, and he wanted me to pull myself up by my own bootstraps, if he wanted me to do all those things, why is it every time I go to do something for myself, he moved in on me? Why was it down there in Alabama with the farms and the Nation of Islam? Why couldn't he leave that alone? Don't bother no wife. Turn to me, I said. Why is it when the Republican New Africa went down there in Mississippi and brought some land? Why couldn't he leave us alone? It wasn't bothering him. He said he didn't want us. We said, all right, we'll have our own then. We want to build our own. We're not bothering you. We're just coming down here where all these black folks are, trying to do something for ourselves, set up our own nation, our own structure. You said we could do that at first. You know, international law says we have a right to do it. I'm not going to go into that. I hope you will invite President Imari Obadeli of the Provisional Governor of the Republic of Africa, one of the heaviest black men on the earth today, to come down and speak to you and run down international law that you so need. So you were supposed to be given 5 options at the Emancipation Proclamation. And you were never given it. And the whole world, the world court backs you up on that. The United Nations. You got to get into that. You should know all about that. I'll tell you, if it was some Jews that were supposed to have 5 options, they would be saying they're supposed to have 10. You deal with that. Now, whenever they see us about to do something, or even they already have us down, they still feel the need to keep jumping on us. Every chance they get, they chump the black man. Disgrace the black woman. Why is that they feel that need? Because they know something about us that when we come to know, there'll be a whole change in the world. They know that we are destined to rule the world. Let me go into the book of Isaiah a minute. I'm coming to a close, but I got to. Let's go into the book of Isaiah, the 20th to the 21st verses. There shall be no more, listen carefully, thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days. That is, all of us are supposed to grow to a ripe age. Do you know when the white man, when Herodotus, the Greek historian, first came into Ethiopia, the average citizen of the Ethiopian Empire lived to be 120 years old? Do you know that white folks could hardly make it past 35 in the day? We were living to 120, and after the hourly life, Muhammad told us you were made to live 1,000 or more years. We won't go into that tonight. But the scripture said there ain't no baby supposed to die among you, and none of you will die short of your age, it said. For the child shall die 100 years old, and they shall build, and the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed. He said even those that are not doing exactly as they should will benefit many times from the righteous being here. And they shall build houses. They shall do what? I want to hear that word again. They shall do what? Build houses. And they shall build houses and inhabit them. And they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them. They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat. For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hand. All this time you've been building for somebody else. You have the skills to do it. Everything you need to know, we have it in the race. It's here. Now it's time to build your own. Plant your own. And the text goes on to say, they shall not labor in vain. All this time we had to work come on time. Labor in vain. Shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble. Many times your work efforts help to keep you in chains. When the slave had to make the very shackles that they bound him with. Our taxes buy the very bullets that they shoot at us with. Take care of the very cops that whip up on our head. It says that they shall not bring forth for trouble. For they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer. And while they are yet speaking, I will hear. That's when we get into get in harmony. What the ancients used to call the unmoved mover, the one, the Amun Ra. When you get in harmony with the one, before you speak, you won't have to be doing a whole lot of praying. You be walking with the Creator, walking with each other. Before you move, we be so in tune, you know what to do, where to go, how to turn. We work on it. That day will come, brothers and sisters. And the wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord. And when you understand the symbolism of this language, it says that peace will be established in the land. And I know you'd be glad to see that. You'll be talking about it all the time while others are doing war. And it's right, we should have peace. I don't want to fight these crimes. I don't. But I know how they are. They won't leave me alone. I'm not going to let them catch me up bad. I didn't raise my babies and give them independent black education, put that money out for those independent black schools for them to just be knocked off. No, it don't go there. No. Nobody wants violence. Brother Malcolm said, I don't want violence. I don't like violence. That's why I'm trying to keep them from being violent to me. Now, if they can go around the country and build up rifle clubs, study karate, build up survival camps and everything, what are you doing? How are you prepared to survive and defend yourself? I'm not telling you to go mess with nobody, but what you're doing to defend yourself. Because God's going to require that of your hand. He gave you these children to protect and care for. And if you don't do that, that's going to be required of your hand. Their blood is required of you. So you deal with that now. I'm not saying that you have to adopt the attitude of violence. You can be perfectly at peace while defending yourself from kindness. Perfectly at peace. But how in the world are you going to be at peace if you're worried about and scared of somebody doing something to you? And you're not prepared to retaliate with maximum retaliation. One more text now. As the brother Howard Fuller says, no, I don't have his first name right, but Neely Fuller says maximum compensatory retaliation. Page 48 of the book, God, the Bible, and Black Man's Destiny, there's another text I want to share with you as we're coming to a close, and it says this. Then will I give you rain in due season, and the land shall yield her increase. You notice the Bible keeps talking about giving up some land. You know, see, keep talking about giving up some land. How come they don't read these texts every day? And the trees of the field shall yield their fruit, and their threshing shall reach unto the vintage, and the vintage shall reach unto the sowing time, and you shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely. In other words, there'll never be a time in the land where there is no productivity. When you finish picking beans, it'll be time for the corn to come up. And finish that, it's time for the grapes to come up. Always there will be produce for you to go and do world trade with. There'll never be a time when you'll be without, and you shall eat your bread to the full and dwell in your land safely, and I will give peace in the land. And you shall lie down, and none shall make you afraid. I like that. And I will rid evil beasts out of the land. Oh, I wish I had the time to go into the symbology of that now. Neither shall the sword go through your land, and you shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. Now you tell me now that I'm teaching violence and I'm talking out the Bible. So we shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. And 5 of you shall chase 100, 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you. Leviticus, the 26th chapter, the 4th to the 8th verse. And you tell me you're afraid of the odds? God said that 5 of you can put 100, and 100 can put 10,000 to flight. Coming down to a close now. In the beginning, in the introduction of African people and European holidays and mental genocide, quote the Bible text there, several of them, and it says this: my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's the only reason. They don't have a knowledge of self. As the Honorable Marcus Garvey said, if all black people could have the knowledge of themselves, to know that in them is an authority that is absolute, that in them is a sovereign power within the next 24 hours. How long? Did you hear me? Within the next 24 hours, we'd have a new race, a new nation, a new empire, not resurrected from the will of others to see us right, but from our own will and determination to rise, irrespective of what the world might think. That knowledge is simple. Therefore, my people are gone into captivity, for they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable, perfect will of God. Perfect will of God is for the black man and the black woman to come back in power again. Come on back home, black man. Come on back and establish yourself the way you're supposed to be. Come on up and move in harmony with your people, with your brothers and sisters. And so, as we close here, I want to say to you once again, as this book was produced and presented, one of the objectives of this book and many others like it that are being written by black scholars around the country now, around the world, is to help in the process of healing the mind. It has a therapeutic value. It is an instrument to salvage the mind, to redeem it from the shackles of the enslavement of the white man's concept of religion. To put it back in its true African perspective. That is what it's to do. The story is told of a little bird that used to fly into this African village every so often. When he flew into this African village, he would tell an amazing story. And the children would gather around and listen. And in his story, he would say, you know, I ran into the lion today, and I beat him so bad he ran out screaming. The little boy went to his father. He said, Father, how is it a bird like this can beat something as big as a lion? How is it? This story is so amazing. His father said to him, he said, son, we will never know the truth until we hear the lion's side of the story. Brothers and sisters, so far you've been listening to his story.